Let me tell you something. There's a kind of strength that doesn't need to shout. It doesn't need a stage, a spotlight, or an audience. It doesn't come from being seen. It comes from being centered. You ever notice how people get uncomfortable with silence? Like there's something wrong with it. Like if no one's talking, something's broken. You sit in a room, no one says a word for 5 seconds, and someone will laugh just to fill the space. It's like quiet is a vacuum they're afraid might swallow them whole. But here's what they don't understand. Silence isn't emptiness. It's not the absence of something. Do what you say. It's the presence of everything we've been ignoring. Do what you say. It's where your thoughts stop bouncing off someone else's opinion. It's where your instincts aren't drowned out by applause or criticism. Do what you say. It's where the world slows down enough for you to hear yourself think, to feel what's real, to know what matters. There's a kind of silence that ain't passive. It's not quiet because it's got nothing to say. It's quiet because it's watching. It's learning. It's storing energy. Silence is the calm before the strike, the breath before the breakthrough. Do what you say, the space between chaos and clarity. It's not running from the noise. It's rising above it. When you understand silence, you stop chasing reactions. You stop answering to every critic, explaining yourself to every stranger, defending yourself in every room. Do what you say, because when you're comfortable in your own stillness, you don't need anyone to fill it for you. You ever watch a lion before it pounces? It's silent. It's still. No roaring, no stomping around. Just still. Waiting, breathing, watching. That's not weakness. That's control. That's power. Because when the moment comes, it moves. And nothing stands in its way. Same goes for life. There's strength in restraint. There's power in pause. The loudest ones in the room usually got the least figured out. They're scrambling for attention, approval, distraction, anything to avoid being alone with themselves. But the ones who sit in silence, who walk alone, think deep, speak slow. Those are the ones who know. Not because they read it in a book, not because someone told them, because they felt it, lived it, learned it in the quiet. We've been taught to treat silence like a void, like a blank space that needs to be filled. But the truth is, silence is a canvas. And what you paint on it, your thoughts, your discipline, your inner peace. That's where real power starts. There's a rhythm in the silence, a heartbeat, a direction. It's where the soul stretches its legs, where vision takes shape, where the storm calms and the compass aligns. People miss it because they're too busy trying to be heard, to be seen, to be liked. But silence doesn't ask to be liked. It doesn't perform. It doesn't beg. It just is. And if you can learn to sit with it, to respect it, to lean into it, you find out real quick. We spend a lot of time trying to be seen, trying to be understood, trying to be validated. It starts early. Someone doubts you, underestimates you, questions your worth, and something inside you kicks up. That fire, that urge to prove them wrong, to show them you're better, smarter, stronger, tougher. And for a while, that fire might fuel you. But here's the thing. Proving yourself to others, that's a game that never ends. Because once you prove it to them, someone else shows up who needs convincing, and then another, and another. Before you know it, you're not living for yourself anymore. You're performing for an audience that keeps changing seats. Do what you say. You'll pour your energy into being accepted, being applauded, being respected, and still feel like it's not enough. Because the people who demand proof rarely care about the truth. They're not looking to believe in you. They're looking for a reason not to. And the moment you hand them that power, you've already lost something. You lose your direction, your peace, your center. See, there's a difference between doing the work and needing credit for it, between becoming something and broadcasting it. One builds you from the inside out. The other keeps you chasing approval like a dog after a passing car. There's no shortage of folks who'll misunderstand you, misjudge you, mislabel you. That's human nature. But if you stop what you're doing every time someone doesn't get it, you're going to spend your whole life playing defense, reacting instead of creating, proving instead of becoming. Not everyone deserves a response. Not every slight needs a speech. Not every doubt is your problem to fix. Do what you say. You don't need to argue with people who don't even listen. You say, you don't need to flex for folks who'll never respect the work. Only the spotlight. And you sure as hell don't need to explain your journey to people who weren't willing to take the first step with you. The truth. You prove yourself every time you show up when no one's watching. Do what you say. Every time you choose discipline over distraction. Every time you keep your head down and your standards high. That's the real scoreboard. And most of the time, it's invisible to everybody else. And that's okay. Because when you know who you are, when you know what you're building, you don't need the world to co-sign it. Your worth isn't a group project. You don't need applause to be valuable. You don't need attention to have impact. You don't need the crowd to clap before you take your next step. All you need is clarity about who you are, what you believe in, and where you're going. Let other people chase the spotlight. Let them exhaust themselves in the court of public opinion. Do what you say. You've got better things to build, deeper waters to swim in, longer roads to walk. In the quiet moments, the early mornings, the nights you lie awake wondering if you're doing any of it right. The world celebrates the glow up, the big reveal. The moment you walk out changed, but they rarely talk about what it took to get there. They don't see the mess, the silence, the setbacks. They don't see you trying to hold it together when no one's clapping. They see the transformation, but not the trembling hands that built it. Because real growth, it's not loud. It's not flashy. It's not posted, tagged, or filtered. It doesn't need approval or permission. It's messy. It's slow. Do what you say. And most of the time, it's lonely. You don't grow just by talking about what you're going to do. You grow when you follow through. Especially when it's hard, when it's inconvenient, when nobody else understands why you're doing it. You grow when you face yourself. Not the version the world knows, but the one only you see. The one that's insecure, that overthinks, that doubts. Do what you say. The one that's been holding you back and waiting on your own courage to move forward. We're told to share our journey, to bring people along. But some roads aren't built for company. Some paths you have to walk alone so you can hear what's been trying to reach you. Your gut. Your truth. That voice that doesn't yell, doesn't sell, but always knows. Not everyone is meant to witness your process. Do what you say. Because not everyone's equipped to understand it. Some people only see the before and after. And if you try to let them into the middle, they'll misread it, judge it, maybe even try to talk you out of it. And that's okay. That's why growth is personal. It's between you and the mirror. You and the discipline. Do what you say. You and the decision to keep going even when no one's checking in. The breakthroughs happen when you're not trying to prove anything to anybody. When you stop chasing applause and start chasing alignment. When you stop asking who's watching and start asking, am I proud of the person I'm becoming? Growth doesn't always come with recognition. Sometimes it comes with silence, with being misunderstood, with walking away from what used to make sense because now it just doesn't fit who you're becoming. That doesn't need an audience. Paid. That doesn't need a highlight reel. There's nothing wrong with sharing pieces of your journey. But don't confuse visibility with value. Just because something isn't seen doesn't mean it isn't sacred. Say, some of the deepest changes in you will never be posted. Some of the strongest parts of you will never be explained. Peace isn't out there. It's not hiding in the next relationship, the next job, the next city, the next achievement. People spend years, lifetimes, chasing it like it's something they'll find once everything around them finally falls into place. But peace doesn't come from what's around you. It comes from what's within you, from mastery over self. That's the hardest kind of control to earn. The one over your own thoughts, your own impulses, what you say, your own need to react. Anybody can lash out. Anybody can point fingers, blame the world, demand change from everyone but themselves. But that's not peace. That's noise. That's chaos dressed up as strength. Mastery is different. It's quiet. It's deliberate. It's the ability to sit in discomfort without needing to escape it. To hear something you don't like without needing to defend yourself. To be misunderstood. Do what you say and not let your ego drive the response. Mastery is when you don't need the last word. Do what you say. You don't need to win every argument. You don't need to post every thought or prove every point. You say, you've outgrown the need for attention because you've found something better. Center. And center isn't about perfection. It's about awareness. Knowing what triggers you. Knowing where your fears come from. Knowing how to pause before you pour gasoline on a fire. It's learning to respond, not react. To guide your emotions, not be ruled by them. There's a lot of power in that. Not the kind that shows off, but the kind that holds. Holds the line. What'd you say? Holds the standard. Holds the silence when it's the better choice. Do what you say. People think peace means nothing ever bothers you. That's not it. Peace means you know how to meet what bothers you and not lose yourself in the process. You can be in the storm and still not let it inside you. You can feel the pull of the past, of fear. Do what you say. Of frustration. And choose not to follow it. You don't have to suppress what you feel. Do what you say. But you do have to manage what you do with it. That's self-mastery. That's where peace grows. Because the real battle isn't outside. It's not your boss. It's not your partner. It's not the headlines or the algorithms. The real battle is inside, between the part of you that wants to stay grounded and the part that wants to burn it all down. Between the wisdom you've earned and the wounds you've carried. Between reacting out of habit and responding with intention. Mastery isn't something you arrive at. It's something you keep practicing. Every day, every choice. You slip, you reset. You catch yourself quicker. You start to notice the patterns, and little by little, they stop owning you. And when you do that work, that deep, invisible, unglamorous work, something changes. Not out there. You start to feel steady, unshaken, clear. Not because the world calmed down, but because you did. When you focus on yourself and embrace silence, you stop chasing noise and start building substance. You stop proving, performing, and reacting, and start growing, listening, and mastering who you are. True strength doesn't come from being loud. It comes from being grounded. Growth happens in the quiet. Peace comes from within. And power, real power, it's in knowing that you don't owe anyone a show. You owe yourself the truth. So walk your path. Stay centered. And let your presence speak louder than your words ever could. The world will notice. Not because you shouted, but because you didn't have to.